Welcome, my dear friends, to the second episode of our garden makeover series. We had bought this house and garden last year, and we now want to pour our souls into this land. Spring had begun, the yellow blooming cornelian cherry tells it. This episode is taking place in March and April, where the greens popped up everywhere. In the last episode, we've shown you how we prepared the spot where the vegetable garden will be set up soon. We first made plans, and it was hard to decide how we both wanted to look like. I brought a lot of ideas to paper, but it turns out we would choose a completely different setup. Our aim here was to use and reuse the material we already had or other people didn't need anymore as much as possible. In some ways it worked out very well, and in some it didn't. A neighbour, for example, had given his willow tree a haircut, and he was happy to give us a truckload of willow branches in different sizes. It took us a while to sort them, but then we were ready to get the construction site started. We had some weeks of good weather, and it was so nice to sit in the early years sun working on this project together. It was the first time that we've been setting up a garden like this. And even though weaving willow branches is a lot of work, it felt so good to weave the first branches. I even continued doing this when the sun was setting, sometimes cuddling up in my llama blanket, because this is indeed a quite meditative work, and the round shape is quite easy to do. At first we had thought we had enough branches to make 3 beds in total, but it turned out that the big bed I am making here took a lot of branches to build, so we're gonna have 2 raised beds this year, hoping for more willow branches next year to continue to build more raised beds. was able to pick up good compost soil from our archery training field. It is a big field that has to be mowed quite a lot, so the compost is huge. This is where we got all our soil, which is quite nice. But the first buckets of soil didn't go into the beds, but were fresh food for our trees. I think we used more than the first carload of soil for the elder tree, our 2 apple trees, the cherry tree, the walnut and mirabelle tree, and the big oak. They deserve it, as they'll provide us with good food later this year. While some of us rested after this hard work, others didn't. I used some old pieces of wood and branches as the base layer of the beds. This is supposed to soak up moisture to supply the plants with water continuously. It keeps the soil from drying out, but looking back, I should have used more of the bigger pieces of wood as the summer is super warm and dry now. As you can see here, the compost was completely full, which was perfect. We had put the top layer aside because it had not yet started to rot. We then dug out buckets full of unfinished compost, which was used as the second layer in the beds. The compost was in the so-called warm phase, and with every shovel, several earthworms found a new home in the raised bed. The third and last layer, finally, was the fresh compost we again had picked up at our archery field. It felt so good to fill it up and be able to feel this good soil in my hands, which will provide us with food at the end of the season. First one is finished. It got warmer and the temperatures eventually rose to 20 degrees Celsius. We found another fruit tree in our garden, a serviceberry. This is gonna be my new favorite, as the delicate flowers are just so beautiful. The garden still looked like it was sleeping. You can see a lot of naked trees and bushes here, and still some branches lying around on the grass, needing to be put into the dead wood hedge. But I couldn't wait, so I built a little plant kindergarten. Because we don't have any windowsills in the living room, but a curious crawling baby, I built this handy hanging tray, which I had seen on Instagram. I started with Brussels sprouts, fennel and some herbs like calendula. With so many projects and so little time alone in the garden, I did most of the work while the baby was asleep or sometimes with him on my back. Every project takes a lot of time to get finished, So while the branches had waited for several weeks to be put into the dead wood hedge, it was now the raised beds that were continued only for a couple of minutes in between the tidying up work. Slowly we made progress, and look how far we've come by now. The first little leaves tell how much time has passed by, but that was fine. It's a slow walk on our path we take, but we didn't need to rush as it was too early to put the plants outside anyways. I tried to use even the thinnest branches because I wasn't sure if we had enough of them to make it high enough. Turns out this was the right thought. We'll see if we keep it like that or if we'll weave it higher next year. The cow pasture behind our house turned yellow, and my husband and my son had great fun to blow the first blowballs onto the parts where no dandelions had been able to settle yet. We aim for a complete yellow field in the future. As I had just finished weaving the second bed, we brought things to an end quite quickly now. While I was super eager to not buy any soil, but work very hard to get it from the archery field compost into our garden, which were like 30 wheelbarrows of freshly sieved soil, and I'm not exaggerating, I counted. We now thought that we could just buy like a little carload of pebbles for the pathways, and that would be it. Little did we know that it would be 2 more of those loads that my husband and later on my nephew would have to pick up and carry uphill until it was all done. I must say that I felt a bit annoyed and stupid by that because of all the plastic. We could have been getting it from a quarry, which is half an hour drive, but we totally underestimated the amount of pebbles and sand that we would need. This is what we learn for the future. It was a lovely day in April when we finished off this first big project in our garden. While I put the unfinished compost and the soil into the big raised bed, my husband poured the sand and the pebbles onto half of the path. It would be my nephew who finished off this work in the next week. It felt so nice to eventually finish this year's part of the vegetable garden. It was still very early in spring, so I knew I had enough time to get more soil. Because oh my, these beds need so much soil until they are full, even though I put a lot of wood in there too. I love how it turned out. This will hopefully be overgrown by greens, herbs and vegetables in summer. Garlic, onions, radishes, basil, yarrow, a blueberry bush, and all that is waiting in the plant kindergarten will go in there. I'm so looking forward to this. Folks, I hope you liked this episode. What do you think of this vegetable garden? What would you plant? Do you have any recommendations? And please tell me if you've ever been weaving something. I'd love to hear from your experience. This garden will slowly grow while we continue working on our projects. We'll take you with us while building a new compost, setting up a place for my bees, and harvesting the first herbs and fruits in summer. Stay tuned and thank you for watching.